and welcome back to my channel. With Halloween almost upon us, I was thinking of some of my favorite costumes, and one of them was when I went as a pirate, and many other people will be doing that again this year. Even though pirates are criminals, usually quite brutal and violent, their lives are often studied, esteemed, and shown as an exciting lifestyle in many stories and Hollywood movies, from Captain Hook in Once Upon a Time to Captain Jack Sparrow, and even in beloved cartoons. Many of the actual well-known pirates sailed tropical seas, but the Great Lakes had their fare of shady seamen as well. For example, Calico Jack, whose real name was John Rackham, was known for wearing colorful clothing and was a small-time pirate from the 1700s. He would stealthily steal anything from fishing tackle to entire boats. James Jesse Strang from Beaver Island was also considered a pirate of the Great Lakes. I'll likely do a whole video about him someday. Again, the most notorious Great Lakes pirates, and the only man known to be charged with piracy here, would be the roaring Dan Seavy. Daniel Ward Seavy was born on March 23, 1865 in Portland, Maine. His father was a schooner captain, so the sea was in Dan's blood. At age 13, he left home to work aboard local vessels, then joined the United States Navy in 1883 at age 18. He grew to be an intimidating man, standing at least 6'4" and weighing 250 pounds. After he left the Navy, he had a brief stint as a deputy marshal for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, where he tracked bootleggers and smugglers on reservations in Michigan and Wisconsin. After that job, he moved to Milwaukee, where he fished, farmed, and owned a local saloon. While living in Wisconsin, he developed a relationship with Frederick Pabst, a brewer who had one day found the Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer Company. When news of the Klondike Gold Rush arrived, Seavy, encouraged by Pabst, left Wisconsin to make his millions in Alaska. He left in 1889, but, like many others, was unsuccessful, and he returned to the Great Lakes region penniless. He moved to Escanaba, Michigan, and began operating various business activities, and in 1904, he was able to purchase a ship, the Wanderer. It's unclear how he gained the funds to buy the ship. It was probably something a little bit unsavory, but once he obtained the schooner, he did use it as a legitimate shipping operation, where he transported goods and also made money trapping, logging, and lumber milling. Dan also had a nefarious side to his business, which included prize fighting, smuggling, poaching, bootlegging, and human trafficking. He robbed shipments of venison and alcohol, then sold it at a high price, and would not hesitate to use a cannon to force his agenda when needed. A clever way Seavy would rob others was to put up fake lights to simulate a port. This is a practice called moon cussing. Incoming ships would crash on the rocks and become easy pickings for men lying in wait. Seavy was also known for venison poaching. One report details that a company called Booth Fisheries attempted to compete with his illegal trade and tried to stop him. In retaliation, Seavy attacked one of their ships, using cannon and killing everyone on board, which is a bit of an overreaction. Another scheme included smuggling a certain type of hay into Chicago, where horse racing was very popular. Apparently, this type of hay could only be found in Michigan's Upper Peninsula and would make the horses run faster, so it was quite valuable. A turning point in Seavy's life was on June 17, 1908. He was in Grand Haven and met the captain of a ship full of lumber, R.J. McCormick. Seavy invited McCormick and his crew to drink with him. When the crew of the Nellie Johnson were all unconscious from being drunk, Seavy and two of his men went to the ship, which was docked in nearby Montague, and commandeered it. They sailed it to Chicago, intending to sell the cargo, but for an unknown reason, they were unable to do so. The U.S. Revenue Cutter Service, an organization that focused on maritime law enforcement, gave chase, so Seavy headed north. The service caught up with Seavy on June 29, and they took him back to Chicago in irons, arrested for piracy. Seavy was officially charged with unauthorized removal of a vessel on which he had once been a seaman, otherwise known as mutiny and sedition. He was released on bond and the charges were dropped, though there are no reports as to why. Some believe he had a lawyer who used corrupt means to get him acquitted, while others believe it was because Captain McCormick never showed up to the trial or that McCormick simply decided not to press charges for whatever reason. Seavy argued that he had won the ship from McCormick in a bet and maintained that fact for the rest of his life. After Seavey was released, he turned into a model citizen. But did he really? He accepted a position with the United States Marshal Service, where, oddly enough, he worked to curb poaching and smuggling and piracy on Lake Michigan. In 1918, the Wanderer was destroyed by a fire, and Seavey replaced it with a 40-foot motor launch. This type of sea craft was the favored ship of Great Lakes alcohol smugglers during Prohibition, and that whole story can probably be another video sometime. So there's no record after this of whether Seavey remained a marshal, maybe went back to outlaw activities, or perhaps even both. You can draw your own conclusions to that. Seavey was burned badly in an accident in 1927, and many believe this was the reason he retired from piracy. He settled in Peshtigo, Wisconsin, to live with his daughter and her husband. There are rumors and speculation that Seavey and his first wife, Mary Silver, may have rekindled their relationship in the mid-1920s. And I didn't go much into his personal life, but that was quite colorful as well. Dan Seavey lived a quiet life for the rest of his days and died at the ripe old age of 84 in the Eklund Nursing Home on February 14, 1949. It's quite interesting to know that our Great Lakes were actually home to not only booming legitimate businesses, on which I've spoke of before, but also activities that were not so honest. There are probably countless unknown pirates that we will never know about. So going back to the original piece, what have been some of your favorite Halloween costumes? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Hello, and welcome back to my channel.